39 years old, but you'd never know watching her out there. Certainly renewed energy. Championships can do that for you. Adere Monroy, our referee for this match today. Let's love the game from Orlando, the Pride, looking to keep that unbeaten streak alive on their home field and also starting a perfect 2-0 in this 2025 regular season.
I've enjoyed this San Diego Wave team in the opening 2 games, Jen. I think they've been really good on the front foot. Jonas Eideveld, there was criticism of him when he was in England that he was very rigid in his possession and he wasn't really fluid in attack. And I think definitely in this league he's been brilliant so far. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I think Savannah McCaskill, I've always been a massive fan of hers, but has last season had that injury, and I think she has a fantastic engine and a great way of pass. And I think equally to Orlando Pride, they have so many different ways of getting to goal.
Barbara Banda on the ball early for Orlando. Now, scoring early goals is something that both teams really have done thus far, but San Diego has done it in each of their first 2 matches, scoring in the first 7 minutes. Seb Hines, the reigning NWSL Coach of the Year, well aware of that when we talked to him, understanding that the San Diego team has come out of the gates strong to start these matches. And it is such an attack-minded group in the midfield for San Diego. That is one of the things I think is going to be really interesting to see as this season goes along, when you've got Kenza Dali, the French, typically number 10, now playing more of a holding midfielder role rather than that attacking midfielder. You see her there wearing the number 10 in white for San Diego.
Yeah, she's a fantastic addition to the San Diego Wave team. I saw her play a lot in the WSL in England for Aston Villa and Everton, and she always offered a lot.
And is this back line up to the task of defending what Orlando brings at you? You heard Barbara Banda say, you've said it as well, Leanne, they come at you in so many different ways. It is not just Barbara Banda.
No, it's not, and you can see it. Think about Barbara Banda. Yes, she scores a lot of goals, but equally it's about, you know, her being able to occupy the spaces. Like if the ball gets to Barbara Banda, she's able to go towards goal, even when there's 4 or 5 players around her. She's that dangerous.
San Diego trying to get up into the attack. Here is Savannah McCaskill. Anna Lundqvist will get up from her spot in the right back position.
I'm looking forward to this match as well, because I think when it comes to teams in transition, both of them are equally just as good.
Banda, 2 defenders trying to stop her. She puts it right into the 2 of them.
Look at Savannah McCaskill occupying that space just underneath as well, and I think her and Kenza Dali are very, very good. I asked them, Kenza Dali on the call, you know, with regards to being able to kind of fit in the chemistry and those types of things from the jump. Sometimes when you have certain players on your team, it can take a while to build those relationships. Some players just have that telepathy from the get-go, and from the San Diego Wave, we know they're a massive franchise. Last year, off the field, so many different things were happening.
A giveaway in the back there by McCaskill. Now Banda has it. Marta wants it back. The Brazilian superstar Morgan Gautrat had it. A lot of numbers and opportunity in the box. Maybe a little unselfish play from Angelina there. Here she is, number 15, Angelina, called in for Brazil in this upcoming international break.
Yeah, I'd like Angelina to potentially be a little bit more selfish in those moments. I mean, it's unselfish of her in that area to be upset, but I'd like to see her go down the left and just get a shot off.
Carrie Abello with the throw-in. Orlando Pride, what a tremendous start for this team this season. 2-0 coming off the championship last year. Not only 2-0, but only team yet to concede in this league. They've got a +8 goal differential, 8 goals scored. That is the most for any team in NWSL history through its first 2 matches of the regular season. Corey Dyke, that's the player who stepped into the starting 11, has appeared in both of the matches off the bench to start this season, but no Rafaele, unfortunately. She's dealt with injuries the last couple of years and not available for selection today for Orlando, so that shuffles things around in that back line.
And for Emily Sams as well, she could play in the outside back position. She's done that in the first 2 games. I said before, it'd be easy for Nadena to go in that position because that's her natural position in the fullback area. But I think this goes to show, you know, Corey Dyke last year I thought was excellent. She has a fantastic story as well. And I think there's so many different weapons coming off the bench.
San Diego trying to build on the far side. Maria Sanchez, Mexican international, that left foot lethal into Leon. She lets it go for Cascarino for a moment. Cascarino, a star in the making. There's a shot from distance, ambitious perhaps, from Dali. There is Jonas Eideval. Leanne, you've talked about him and what you've seen from him in his time over in England with Arsenal over the last few years, 3 seasons there. Very defined style that he has now coming to the NWSL. And he's been open about understanding that, look, this league is different, but that doesn't mean you have to play more transitionally, for example. That's kind of the reputation you hear sometimes, that the teams in this league can come at you quickly. That's not necessarily the way he wants to play. Trying to figure out how to adapt with what is given and what your strengths are.
But it's not also a bad thing. I think sometimes people often talk about the NWSL being really quick and like so transitional, but it's not a negative thing. It's just different. Every league is completely different. And I like the other side of how he seems to have adjusted what he'd usually be like, because historically it was a possession-based team. The league in England, there's a few more passes to get to goal. Here it can clip you in the blink of an eye. 2 passes go to goal, and that's okay. But I think the other side of I've been impressed in the first 2 games, the adjustments as well. Obviously against the Utah Royals, conceding those goals, but going on to win the game. All that really matters, Jen, you want to have momentum in games, but all that really matters is getting the 3 points.
San Diego, record of 1-0-1 so far, a draw in their first match on the road at Angel City, and then a 3-2 victory in their home opener against Utah. They were up 2-0 in that game, wound up having to come back after Utah tied it 2-2. Corley with the game winner late. Per Moroni, the French defender, getting the ball all the way across, and that is a nervy touch for a defender. It does go out for a corner kick.
Bello did really well there, because those types of balls are so difficult to defend. We saw Real last week for Gotham FC, goes in the back of the net, and these are the types of ones that are so difficult to defend. What a ball that is. Bello does a fantastic job at clearing her lines, because usually that goes in the back of the net. You don't know where you are as a defender. Great awareness from Bello.
So this sets up Sanchez, Anna Morehouse in goal for Orlando. Second 11 selection last year. It's right into the fray, falls back out, no chance for a follow-up. Great reactions there from Orlando, just smothering any follow-up attempt. Now Sanchez will put it back into the box, and eventually Morehouse nabs it out of the air. Well, now let's look at today's keys to the game, brought to you by Hyundai.
And this one for me is all about Angelina and McCutcheon being disciplined in those areas to allow Marta to have that free role. And I think it's easy to focus on Marta and Barbara Band, but you have to. They're the types of players that anything is possible when they have the ball at their feet. They make things happen, but I think equally for this San Diego Wave team, the fluidity of the front 6 is really, really key. And Kenza Dali being in that lower position, being able to join in with the front 3 as well, I think is really impactful.
Kylie Nadaner, one of those in the back for Orlando. Formerly Kylie Strum, got married, hence the name change. Vanda not able to get past the defense. He'll say she committed a foul trying to get around Kennedy Wesley.
Wesley does well here. You don't really want to leave yourself 1v1 in those positions, and she does really, really well. It's definite free kick.
Barbara Banda, what makes her, Leanne, such a handful for teams to try to defend?
I don't think I've ever seen a player like this. I think with Barbara Banda, she has so many different ways of getting to goal, and she can be isolated up front and then make something out of nothing. Last year we saw her drawing penalties, and look at her in that number 9 position, that centre forward position. She occupies the centre backs, but look, no one knows how to take care of her. And then equally underneath, you've got to look at, once you take care of Banda, then you've got Marta, then you've got Ali Watt. They have so many different ways, and I think for this Orlando Pride team, it's a fantastic ability to have that in your back pocket to be able to turn a team in behind as well. They're not just a hit and hope team. I think when I've played with fast forwards, people have the ability to just sometimes hit and hope, whereas it's purposeful with this Orlando Pride team. And I love Barbara Banda. What a player she is. Coming to the league last year, her and Chiamaka, I think they'll push other centre forwards on, because I think we're going to see even more records being broken this year.
Temwa Chiamaka, the Golden Boot winner, MVP for Kansas City last year. And the Current, by the way, the only other team along with Orlando off to a perfect 2-0 start so far in the league. This is just week 3 of the regular season, and we are upon an international break coming up in April, where players will go to join their respective national teams. U.S. with a couple of matches coming against Brazil. Here comes Cascarino. Had an opportunity there perhaps to do a bit better. Gia Corley's been brilliant. NWSL Player of the Week in week 2. Has 2 goals and an assist. Cascarino with the cross. McCutcheon taking her time in the back. Orlando wanting to play out here.
San Diego Wave have really high pressed in the first 10-15 minutes, you can see here, and it's difficult for the Orlando Pride to get out of those positions. Cascarino previously, I was quite surprised that she didn't take another touch down the line or take it in field. I think she hit that ball far too quickly to try and find Gia Corley.
Savannah McCaskill down for San Diego, one of those players tasked with playing really a different type of role for her in the midfield. We're so used to seeing Savannah McCaskill as one of those players just buzzing around energetically in the attack, whether it be attacking midfield or sometimes even getting a little bit higher on the field. But now really sitting in as one of those 2 holding midfielders, although sitting in doesn't even seem like the right word with the way that San Diego has been playing it so far.
Yeah, and I think with Savannah McCaskill, I've always liked her. I think in this league, those types of players, she's got a great weight of pass, and I think for myself that plays in that, used to play in the number 10 role, I appreciate someone like Savannah McCaskill that can play the ball through the lines. Yeah, it just looks like potentially McCutcheon didn't mean that at all.
McCaskill in her 2nd year with San Diego has been in the league though since 2018, when she was the number 2 overall pick by the Boston Breakers. It's going to be great to see the Breakers coming back into the NWSL with a different name though, but a team in Boston. That rebranding still to be determined.
So Legacy.
Oh, Legacy.
Yeah,
oh, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, so I like that. I like that.
I do like that as well. Boston and Denver, 2 new teams coming into the NWSL as this league just continues to grow. Well, Savannah McCaskill gets tended to here. Let's take a look at some fast stats brought to you by Dove. Mentioned, Leanne, that Orlando's been very good at home, unbeaten in their last 21 across all competitions, and their last loss, yeah, look pretty closely at that line. It just happened to be San Diego in 2023, that year that the Wave wound up winning the Shield.
Yeah, that's an incredible record, and playing in this league myself, I know how difficult it is to keep a clean sheet, to break all the records they broke last year. And sometimes, Jen, when you're on a team like this Orlando Pride, you want to be around each other constantly. I say it a lot. And the fact that they've only, like Adriana's the only player that's left, she's gone over to Saudi Arabia, like everybody else has kind of, they've kept their core players, and I think there's something to be said about that. And they said, when we asked Emily Sams about the off-season, she was like, it felt like it was just yesterday. Then those players that got picked for the national team didn't actually get to go on the parade. So but she said it felt quite nice to come come back into camp, you know, be around everybody and kind of not continue on the celebrations, but it's a feeling you get in a team, and it's difficult to keep winning back-to-back championships, but you can see right now, just 2 games in, how they haven't really skipped a beat, have they?
Doesn't look that way. Emily Sams telling us that her team loved that underdog mentality. And I said, Emily, I'm not so sure you're going to get that so much this year as the reigning champions. But you know what? Whatever you need to tell yourselves. I
liked what she said about that, because she said it might not even be the reality, the perception that they have, because I said, you know, when you make 1 playoff in 7 years, of course people are not, it's not really an underdog mentality. It's just stats don't lie. The team wasn't good enough. Even when I was there, we had everybody and we just wasn't good enough to make the playoffs. And you can see now, I think people do expect them to go on to win again. I know I do. After seeing the first 2 games, I mean, I would put my money on them winning again.
Yeah, they're one of the favorites. I think most everybody in agreement with that in 2025. Play back underway now. McCaskill trots back out onto the field after being bandaged up. Cross that back for Lukvis Wesley, back to Sheridan. Leanne said she basically plays like another center back there for the Wave. McNabb, the other center back, and then Moroni. Sanchez leading Moroni here. Moroni. Quite a few crosses that have gotten into this attacking area for San Diego so far. Nothing terribly dangerous to come of them just yet.
I think Jonas Eidevall will be happy with how his team started this game. They've been high pressing, but I think, Jen, it's difficult to high press in a midday kickoff in Orlando the entire game. So I'm sure they have a game plan for the first, 20, 25 minutes, and then to just kind of gain a little bit of momentum, possess the ball a little bit. But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. And I think certainly in the back line with the Orlando Pride, they do look a little bit shaky. Uncharacteristically, we've seen a couple of times of Bello in those moments, Sam's fantastic ball in from Cascarino. But I certainly think the San Diego Wave team look more organised this year. And they're taking better care of the ball, because last year, unforced errors, giving away the ball constantly.
San Diego last year, a record of 6-13-7, finishing 10th in the league. By far their worst performance since joining the league 2022. Here comes Cascarino. So tough to keep her in check, but she knows, put a little too much on that final touch, lost it out of bounds.
Yeah, good spot for Cascarino to be in. It was unfortunate because the third touch was just heavy, but she got into a good spot. It was really good press. Dana ends up giving away the ball in that pressing moment, and I think they've done a really good job. Cascarino just overran it a little bit, and Sam did a really good job at covering over.
Cascarino, number 2 in chances created so far this season in the NWSL. It's her second year in the league. Joining San Diego later in the year, after the Olympics last season. Orlando trying to really get a hold of it here. Haven't even called Allie Watt's name yet. She lost it after just a couple of touches. Allie Watt up top there with Banda. Marta given free rein to go wherever she likes, basically. Everyone looking for some sort of whistle, which they won't get.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised because that looked like a handball. But I think Orlando Pride have been turning over the ball in their defensive third a lot in these first 20 minutes, in the opening 20 minutes. And I think San Diego Wave need to capitalize on that, keep pressing higher up the field, because they're turning over the ball in those areas. Nadana's had a couple of moments where she tried to dribble out with the ball, play the ball through the lines, and it's been cut out.
With this early start time, it's been an adjustment for both teams. Seb Hines, coach for Orlando, said he has never had a game as a player or a manager where he's had to kick off at noon. And for San Diego, coming from the West Coast, well, you can imagine those bottomless mimosas they're serving. I think the San Diego fans, if any of them made the cross-country trip, would certainly appreciate it. Feels like 9 a.m. for San Diego, but Jonas Eidevall telling us he kind of appreciated the challenge. That was one of them, having to go across the country in this league and get ready for an early kick. They've been working on it all week. They adjusted their training times. They even trained in rain jackets to try to get ready for the heat. It is 80 degrees. We will have a hydration break here in the first half.
Yeah, I like what Jonas Hardeveld had to say about the adjustments. He said it is what it is. You know, he didn't complain about it. He said, you know, the thing for me as a player is like, what do you eat? What time do you eat before a game? And those types of things. But he said he's enjoying that challenge. And I think the players, I mean, for me, if I got to wake up and play football first thing in the morning, that would be a dream come true. The fact that we get to call the game at midday. But I don't know about being out there in the heat in Orlando at that time. But I think, you know, the players are ready. They're professional. Fair play to San Diego Wave, because the fact they've come across country. I mean, in England, when Jonas Hardeveld was at Arsenal, you go 6 hours, you're in another country, Jen, and that's a drive. It's unfathomable to think you fly and you're in the same country, but it is what it is.
Allie Watt able to win it. Possession has been very short-lived when Orlando has had it. NWSL on ESPN, presented by Ally, continues after the international break on Sunday, April 13th, as Abby Dahlkemper and Bay FC take on Alyssa Nair and the Chicago Stars at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2, and the match also streaming live on ESPN+. Bay FC, a record of 1-1-1 so far through their first 3 matches of the season.
I really enjoyed our chat, Jen, with Kenza Darley. It was nice and refreshing, you know, to see a player come over to the league, you know, 33 years old. And I think, you know, it takes a little while for players sometimes to get up to the speed of play, but I think Kenza Darley's enjoying. She's a technical player, and you can see how much she's enjoying being in San Diego and being part of this team.
Gatra, Marta trying to break this pressure from San Diego. Marta spots some space and leads Abello. Abello gets her way around Cascarino. No foul given on the play.
I think that was the correct call. I think it was a really good tackle. You can see here, really good pressure from Cascarino. Yep, gets the ball.
Has either team, in your opinion, really been able to get what they want? I don't think Orlando has. Has San Diego through these first few minutes?
I think so. I think the fact they've been pressing from the front and they've been able to make the Orlando Pride force errors and force mistakes, and they're possessing the ball. I mean, look at that. It's a giveaway in the end by Corley, but that's something we're seeing them operate around the field in triangles, and look at them getting out this space from Kenza Darley.
Here is Kenza Darley telling us she hates to play it backwards. She wants to get up into the attack, has to practice some discipline in this position, but when she gets the opportunity, you better bet she's going to go.
They have a lot of real good ball players, this San Diego Wave team, and I think at times there they can go to goal a little bit quicker. I love the fact that Kenza Darley's played through the lines, played forward. Maybe Adriana Leon could have got on the half turn there to get a shot off. I think the happier team will be the San Diego Wave. Jonas Hardeveld will be happy with how his teams started this game.
There is Kenza Darley, 33 years old, and when she was asked about coming to San Diego and the beautiful weather, all the things you get there, she said, look, I didn't come here for a retirement plan. I'm competitive. I feel like I still have a lot to give to this game, and she was not really... Well, she was very let down, let's just be honest about it, with the way that things finished at Aston Villa. She said, I had no intention of leaving. I thought this was going to be my home and where I would stay, but I was basically told I was too old when there was a coaching change. And so she has come here, I think, with a little something to prove.
Definitely, and I think anybody that's seen Kenza Darley play, whether it be the French national team, whether it be in the WSL in England, will know what a baller she is. And I had the luxury of being able to see her play a lot in England, and fair play to her, because sometimes, you know, I've always found if you're not happy off the field of play, your performances will, you know, suffer for that. So I love the fact she's over here, and I told her that as well. I was like, I'm so happy you are here.
You see those possession numbers, 70% in favor of San Diego through these first 24 minutes. Can Orlando find a way out against the press? You have to be a bit brave, don't you, to high press like this, A, in the heat, but B, against this Orlando team, which you know can hurt you with the weapons that they have up top.
That's an example there, like, right now, the Orlando Pride look a bit shaky in a way we haven't really seen them. Angelina there just gives the ball away, like they had to cover around in that position. Corey Dyke had to cover around. And I think fair play to San Diego Wave, because sometimes, you know, when the team are as superior as the Orlando Pride, teams give them too much time on the ball, too much respect. And I think positionally, you can see it. Cascarino's tucking in, Giacorli's there. Gautrat can't get on the ball because Adriana Leone is covering the space really, really well.
Angelina to Marta. Two country women connecting. Marta, what trick might she pull out of her bag at any given moment? A player that all of these Orlando Pride players said last year they wanted to win for themselves, yes, but for her, for Marta, who's come so agonizingly close on the international stage a number of times, winning silver with Brazil, Olympics and World Cups, and never quite getting to hoist that trophy. And then here in the NWSL, you could see the joy on her face when she lifted that shield and the championship trophy last year.
I think also what it meant to her teammates to be able to almost give that to Marta. You could see Kylie Nadal said it was the best day of her life being able to lift the shield with Marta, and she couldn't believe she called her forward to be able to do that. And I think it's not just about Marta's ability. People talk about how humble she is, and she still has that hunger. We always talk about don't make Marta mad. It's the hunger that she still has, Jen.
Barbara Banda has that hunger as well. And then just some miscommunication. Two Pride players run into one another and eliminate any chance on that attack. There's Leon. Canadian international, scored in her debut last week for San Diego. Her debut in the starting lineup, should say, did come off the bench in the first game against Angel City.
I think Giacorli and Savannah McCaskill are doing a really good job defensively, covering around. They're not giving any space to this midfield. You can see Angelina and McCutcheon then got in each other's way, but those things do happen. But I think there's certainly right now, the other side of it will be hoping the San Diego Wave can capitalise on good moments, because I think they've been the better team in this first 30 minutes.
Would agree. Nothing to show for it yet, except for an awful lot of possession and probably some frustration on the side of Orlando, and that could count for something. Big switch to the far side, but Moroni left it behind Sanchez, excuse me. Watt takes it away. Now, can Orlando keep it? Gautrat will play it back through Sams. NWSL Defender of the Year last year, Emily Sams. Nadanner also a nominee for that award, which tells you something about this Orlando Pride defense. Haley McCutcheon, former defender turned midfielder, covers so much ground for this Orlando Pride team. It's going to be a foul against San Diego. Free kick coming.
I was very complimentary with Orlando Pride last week against Gotham FC, because I said positionally and defensively they were exceptional. We can focus on how good they are on the attack. I think today, San Diego Wave, Orlando Pride can't get out, Jen. They're trying to play through the lines. We know they like to do that from the defensive spots, but Emily Sam's having to go out wide, whether that be to a bellow, and they just can't play through the lines, and they can't get spare. They haven't found their spare player yet on the field of play, and I think that's due to the fact San Diego Wave are pressing so high, getting tight, and not giving them a second to breathe on the ball.
Nadanner in her 100th NWSL regular season appearance today gets it back. Number 3 there for Orlando. Over to Sams. It's given away.
And there will be moments like this for the Orlando Pride. We just haven't really seen it, where the ball will be given away. It's so like everyone's in shock because we're seeing them turn over the ball in a way we're not used to seeing them turn over the ball. But again, I think that's due to the fact San Diego Wave are not giving them any time on the ball. And these things do happen. You can't play 10 out of 10, 100% every single moment of a game.
One of the things Jonas Eideval told us was that he's been really pleased with how his team has started the games. We mentioned the early goals they've had and the way they've played in the first half, but the second half, he said, has not been good enough, and that was an emphasis, knowing this week they were going to have to do something to be better, more consistent through a full 90 minutes, because you let up against a team like Orlando, they will make you pay. Lundqvist, Cascarino, it's like she dances with the ball at her feet and is able to earn a corner, second of this first half for the Wave.
Love that from Lundqvist down the right-hand side. It's a fantastic chest touch into her path, and you can see they got off on their way. And down the right-hand side, Cascarino's had a lot of joy. They haven't really gone down their left-hand side yet to Sanchez, but I think the San Diego Wave need to capitalise on having all of this possession. They've been the better team, but again, they still haven't caused a lot of problems in the final third area to the Orlando Pride.
Anna Morehouse, 13 shutouts last season, an NWSL record. 22 now in her career, tied for 10th all-time in the NWSL. Will she be challenged here? It's put toward the back post. And the whistle is blown as Ali Watt went down. Hydration break of this first half is upon us. We mentioned it is an early start and a hot afternoon in Orlando, 80 degrees at kickoff. The NWSL on ESPN is presented by Ally, the bank that's your ally, and in part by Hyundai. Innovating for you, cheering with you. Learn more at Hyundai.com. Well, we've talked a lot about how much this Orlando team loves being able to play with Marta, and when we spoke with Barbara Banda before the game, you're going to love to hear. You can hear and feel the emotion when she talks about playing with a Brazilian legend.
Honestly, I feel it's a dream come true playing alongside Marta, because I've been looking up to her since I was young, and now I'm playing alongside her, and I'm getting to learn more from her each and every day, learning different kind of skills, you know that. So it's good for me. Honestly, I've been here for the last season, but the things that I've learned from her, it's quite a lot.
What do you think she's picked up, Leanne, from her time with Marta?
I mean, I've said it many times, the one player I'd have loved to have played with in my career was Marta. I've played against her a number of times, but never had the luxury of being on her team. And I think when you're around a player like Marta, just every single thing that she does is the day-to-day, 39 years old now. She's probably still the first one in, last one out. It's that hunger. She came off last week in the game. You can see she's having conversations with Gautra about what's happening within the game. And it's somebody that's won Ballon d'Ors, everything you could think of. She's won everything in her career, and she's still hungry for more.
This Orlando Pride team, though, been quieted thus far in this first half. San Diego has had the lion's share of the possession. It's close to 64% now. Truly, neither team very many dangerous opportunities in the attack.
I think this hydration break would actually benefit the Orlando Pride and give them a moment to regroup, because I wouldn't say it's just been one-way traffic necessarily for the San Diego Wave, but I think positionally, defensively, they're high pressing and they're being able to get a lot of joy. The Orlando Pride just needed a moment to reset, so I'll be interested to see what happens now in these first few minutes of, the rehydration afterwards, because I think Orlando Pride haven't had their best moments in this game so far, but it is still only 0-0, and San Diego Wave haven't exactly gone on goal loads of times. But this is the picture I want to talk about here, Jen. The press, look at this. Maria Sanchez is brilliant, and it forces them to go long. Then it becomes a 50-50 ball, unless you're against Barbara Banda, of course.
Then the odds are ever in your favor. Orlando with a little bit of sustained possession in the attack. Here comes San Diego closing the space. It's brought down well by Abello, the former Penn State Nittany Lion, on her 4th year with the Orlando Pride, second 11 selection last year. Does San Diego need something to show for how well they've played this first half, considering the challenge it will be to keep this up for a full 90 minutes? Sanchez has some time in the middle of the field. Could have carried it forward. Tried to pick out Cascarino instead.
Yeah, I think that ball has to make it for me. I think Sanchez found herself in a really good spot. Either carry the ball, or that has to be the defender in that moment, because Cascarino's on her way.
Cascarino found a way through to Corley. Gia Corley from Tacoma, Washington, but a member of the German youth national teams will be headed away with their U23 team in this international break that's coming up.
What I loved about seeing Gia Corley this week, I've watched a number of interviews she's done, Jen, and it was like everything she said. She's like, this is so amazing. And you can see how happy she is to be here. And I think it's quite refreshing when you see her in interviews, and it's great because when you get off to a good start in a new league, in a new team, it definitely makes a difference to your confidence.
McCutcheon has some time. Over to Allie Watt. Great to see Allie Watt healthy, her 4th year with the Pride. Certainly a threat, and getting some more starting opportunities this season. Started 9 matches in the championship run last year. 3 goals, 1 assist for Watt. Already 1 goal this season. Orlando opening the season with an impressive 6-0 scoreline here at home against Chicago. Followed that up with a 2-0 win on the road at Gotham.
I think Ali Watt's been brilliant, Jen. I think it's interesting because Seb Hines said that she had to be patient last season and she got her opportunity and she's taken it.
Barbara Banda continuing to work, find her way against this San Diego defense, does earn her team a corner. First of the match for Orlando.
Well done, McNabb. Really good defending. I loved that matchup last week with Emily Sonic going up against Barbara Banda, the type of battles they were having. And that's what you have to do. You have to get tight to Barbara Banda, but equally she could then spin you, you give her space, she can turn on the half turn. And that was really good defensive play from McNabb.
Defenses across the league had last season to try to figure out how to contain Barbara Banda. There was a stretch, you mentioned it, toward the end of the regular season where she was not scoring as much, but boy, did she turn it on in the postseason. 4 goals in the playoffs for Banda. Championship MVP with the only goal in the final. And she's had to adjust too, as defenses are maybe trying to figure some things out with how to handle her. Set the world alive with goals, according to Seb Hines, what she did last year. Can she do it again? Already 2 goals, 1 assist this season. Is Orlando trying to make something of this corner kick? McCaskill having a rough day of it so far. Already has a bandage on her face, and she's knocked down to the ground again.
Yeah, Savannah McCaskill's been everywhere. I mentioned it before defensively. There she's getting tight to Barbara Banda. She's had a great game defensively so far.
She and Banda going head-to-head quite literally there, going after the ball. McCaskill still down. Barbara Banda, though, did set the NWSL world on fire. Had 12 goals in her first 12 games played in the league, which is just an incredible number.
I love Barbara Banda. I mean, I think everything she's had to deal with off the field of play as well, I think is a disgrace. And I think it shows you just her character, being able to turn up every single game, show up, do what she can for the Orlando Pride, and she's been brilliant. I remember I did her first interview in America last year, Jen, and she's so humble, she's so quiet, very introvert, and it's great to see her interview on SportsCenter where she's coming out of herself, you know, and I think that will hopefully continue, because when you have those things happening to you off the field, it can affect you. So it's important for her to have people around her, and for her to keep showing up in the way that she does is amazing.
She wins this ball back, tries to get it to Marta, who spins, gets it away from a couple defenders. Marta, that was always going to be a tough ball back from Angelina with those 3 defenders surrounding the number 10. Angelina working the nutmeg to her advantage. Abello, does she keep it in? Not quite.
Yeah, the Orlando Pride haven't been able to maintain any type of possession in this game. They're turning over the ball a lot. You can see Abello in the last 10 minutes or so has gone a little bit higher since that hydration break, and that may be something Sepp Hines had noticed within the game to be able to get the ball to Angelina.
Certainly something had to be done from an Orlando perspective. On the one side, you could think about, excuse the pun, but it's going to come naturally, riding the wave for what San Diego is bringing with this high press. And as you have mentioned, they don't have any goals to show for it so far. But on the other hand, this has not been the game that Orlando wants to play in any way yet.
If you're Caitlin Sheridan and you're the San Diego Wave backline, happy days all day long. They have been able to nullify the attack of the Orlando Pride so far. And I think if it stays this way, Jonas Eidevall will be happy and the team will be happy, because he spoke about the special players that the Orlando Pride team have.
Sanchez, one of those special players for San Diego. Moroni. Sanchez a little slow to get back to her feet. That pushes the ball back for the Wave. Have to shuffle the deck in the attack. That is Jonas Eidevall's goal with this team, to ensure that they are a very fit team. He felt that was something last year that hurt this team. They were slow in transition. They played back a lot. He felt because they were tired, not because it was tactically the right thing to do. Really important touch there for San Diego to keep that away from Barbabanda. McNabb stepping in at the right time.
I mean, they had also 3 coaches in the space of a season, Jen, for the San Diego Wave team. Obviously, letting go of Casey Stoney, which I did not understand at the time, and I still don't understand. But again, she's with the Canadian national team now, so that's a game for them. And obviously, Landon Donovan ends up there, and it was just a bit of a mess at the San Diego Wave with regards to coaching. People coming in and out, and I think it's difficult for players to kind of have any stability when you have that situation happening. It really is. You go out there, you do your job to the best of your ability.
Cascarino picking up the yellow on that foul.
I said to Jonas Eidevall, I bet he never imagined he'd have 2 former Aston Villa players playing for him after leaving Arsenal earlier on in the season. It's crazy how football can, change in the blink of an eye, really. And it has to be said, he left Arsenal, Jen. He didn't it wasn't like they got rid of him. He actually left Arsenal, and within about 6-7 weeks, he found himself in America.
And now as he's taken charge and starting to imprint on the San Diego team, getting some of those players, like you mentioned, Kenzat Ali, Adriana Leon on it now. That was a gutsy move. Brave in the back by the Orlando defense. And Corey Dyke, the young defender, just 24 years old, a rookie last season, started 11 games for the Pride in her first year.
Yeah, Corey Dyke did really well there. You could see they were appealing for a foul. It was almost like a slow hook tackle in the end, but it was a really good tackle.
Emily Sams, have to give her a ton of credit too. She is typically, we've seen her as a center back. She has played outside back as well when needed, or just as a way to get all the players on the field for this Orlando Pride team when healthy. Abello, Banda crisscrossing in front of her. McCutcheon. San Diego defense and Lukvis had it covered, but it will be a throw for Orlando.
Yeah, this is the one on Sanchez. Corey Dyke does really well to cover over. Does really well to keep her hand out of the way as well.
It does hit the hand, but it's clearly tucked in against her body. Scoreless first half in Orlando in this battle between the two most recent Shield winners in the NWSL. Orlando winning the domestic double last season, the regular season title and a record-setting year, and then the NWSL championship, their first in club history. They've been silenced so far by the San Diego Wave team. Shield winners in 23. Big drop-off, disappointing year last year, but starting fresh in 2025 and unbeaten so far. 5 minutes of stoppage time added on to the first half. Remember, we're always going to have at least 3 minutes when there's a hydration break. Orlando started last season, looked like they might complete the regular season unbeaten. Didn't quite get there. Had a 24-game unbeaten streak. 23 of those games in 2024 to start the year. Just an incredible run. Lost a couple down the stretch, but then got their groove back in the postseason, winning their first ever NWSL championship.
And it has to be said, within that game against the Portland Thorns that they did lose, Seb Hines made a lot of changes because they'd already won the Shield, they'd already secured a playoff spot, and he wanted to reward those players that have been great for the squad, but great for the team, and ultimately they lost that game. It didn't have any implications on their playoff spot or anything like that. Same as when they went to Gotham as well.
They had earned themselves a bit of a cushion with the way they played. A lot of space for Dyke. She's able to continue her run forward. Watt.
They will tell you differently, but I still think there's elements, Jen, where you'll be thinking, oh, I wish we went the whole season unbeaten. Like, that would have been an amazing thing. But they still were incredible.
Sams. Out of the reach of Watt. Well, coming up in the CarMax halftime report, we're going to give you some goals. We know you're wanting them. Hopefully we'll get some in this game, but we'll take a look at some of the top goals in the league so far. Plus, we'll have our first half highlights and analysis from this one. Nary a shot on target to be had in this first half for either team, which I feel like is pretty surprising.
It is, and I did the game last night, the Houston Dash versus Gotham FC, and it was a similar situation with regards to shots on goal, but I've actually really enjoyed. You can get some 0-0s, Jen, but there's a lot to dissect from it, and what I'm seeing so far with the San Diego Wave team is I've been really happy with Rojano Sidevel. Look at the way they're popping the ball around. Like, they're playing the way they played under Casey Stoney in the first season that she was there, possessing the ball, finding an out, looking good on the ball, direct.
Progressing here. Moroni will get it back. Touchdown for Dali. Corley. Wanted to go to her right, and just good defending there by Abello.
Great defending from Abello, 1v1 in that situation. I'd love Kenza Dali moments before to have taken a shot off. I think it just needs somebody to take the responsibility. You don't want to be shooting from really far out, but I think Kenza Dali has that in her locker to be able to hit one.
Yeah, she had a look there. I'm surprised as well. She told us how much she relishes those opportunities to get up into the attack. They may be a bit fewer and further between in the role she's playing for the San Diego team now. 75 appearances, 13 goals in her international career with France. Veteran of 2 World Cups, 2024 Olympics.
You can see here the Orlando Pride are in no rush to press the San Diego Wave team. They can possess the ball here. They're happy for them, and then have to pick their moments, try and set traps.
Kennedy Wesley, 24-year-old defender out of Stanford. Eventually now to McCaskill. Off the back heel. Not necessarily in a good way, but it could work out for the Wave. Dali looking up at the goal now. Tries to chip in. Sense both teams certainly going to make the most of that halftime break to get refreshed, get reset for the second half.
Be interested to see if there's any substitutions that are made as well. I think it's great to see Carson Pickett available off the bench. I think she offers something different, has an exceptional delivery that can find Barbara Banda in those areas as well.
Barbara Banda contained so far. Can it continue for San Diego? They're going to get whistled for the foul. Wesley impeding the path of Banda. Was that Kenza Dali coming over, putting her hands on the shoulders of Barbara Banda? Couldn't quite tell. Well, yeah, I'd say she got wrapped up.
Foul all day long. But you got to do what you got to do, Jen, to stop Barbara Banda.
Hey, do it as long as you can get away with it, is probably what a lot of defenders try to say.
This is a dangerous spot because we know Marta's delivery is so good. We saw last week the Gotham FC game where she played that ball and Barbara Banda was able to flick it on. So this could be a really dangerous spot for the Orlando Pride.
And San Diego did concede directly off a free kick in their last match against Utah. Beautiful goal by Zornoza. Marta. Not the direction that Orlando wanted it to go. Goes out of play. The first half of game so far. Can they sustain it through the second half, especially on a hot afternoon in Orlando? We shall see. One change at the half for Orlando. Summer Yates has come on for Morgan Gatra in the midfield. Yates actually had the only goal in the matchup between these two teams here in Orlando last year in a 1-0 win for the Pride. One of her 5 goals on the season.
I think Summer Yates coming into this game will offer a little bit more speed of play. I think it needs a bit of an injection of pace within this game. I think Gatra at times wasn't really getting on the ball, wasn't really getting in amongst it. Summer Yates is a completely different player. McCutcheon will probably have to drop back a little bit deeper now, but I think Summer Yates last year, whether she was starting a game, whether she was coming in, she really was able to make an impact.
17 starts, appeared in 25 matches last year for the Pride. We are at Enter & Co Stadium for this matchup. Orlando hosting San Diego. Jen Hildreth, Leanne Sanderson on the call. Orlando wearing the purple, San Diego in the white tops, teal shorts. Shots were even, 3 apiece. Neither team, though, with an attempt on goal yet in this match. Possession in favor of San Diego, 57% in the first half. That number was even higher through, I think it was the first 15-20 minutes. It was closer to 70%. Talk a lot about the attack for Orlando, but this attack for San Diego is intriguing as well. Gia Corley on the ball here, NWSL Player of the Week. Turns the corner right at the edge of the area. Unselfish to Kenza Dali. French international. Lundqvist up from the back line. Yates wanting to go the other direction. A leading ball for Barbara Banda. As the crowd escalates, Banda takes her shot early. Sheridan parries it out, and it's a corner coming for Orlando.
Good from Summer Yates occupying that position, almost in the attacking midfield role. Great way to pass. Barbara Banda goes to goal. I think she takes this a little bit too early. Wesley does a really good job recovering. Kaylee Sheridan had it covered, as we know. It's a good save in the end, but I think Barbara Banda took it so early.
And you wonder sometimes Banda is almost overthinking because she's trying to think about what defenders are going to do. She is so skillful and has worked a lot on how to unlock some of these defenses that are, their whole intent is to stop her. Here's the corner. Marta still lurking after putting the corner in for the Pride. Emily Sams, part of the U.S. Olympic team that won gold in 2024. And in our conversation with her, I think you asked her about it, what a special year it was for her last year, Leanne, to consider she got married, she won the domestic double, she won Olympic gold. I mean, that is some kind of a year.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's great to see these types of things happening. I mean, she's a good person as well. I remember meeting her last year and interviewing her at their practice facility, and that was before all the success she'd had. And it's just great to see what can happen in a year, and I think she deserves it. And I think it goes to show that Emma Hayes will pick players that are performing, playing well, and I think Emily Sams deserves everything.
She has been named to the roster for the upcoming friendlies in April. Shot is parried over. Well taken, and already a more aggressive start offensively to the second half for Orlando.
Great strike from Ali Watt. That's exactly what I was talking about in the first half. Get your shot off, touch out your feet, hit it. Good save from Caitlin Sheridan. Would expect her to make that type of save in those moments, but I like that from Ali Watt, because we saw in the first half, both teams are getting in good areas and then passing it.
So another corner coming. Orlando had just one in the first half. Marta, the all-time leader in goals, assists, and appearances in club history. Pops it up into the box, far post, put away! Haley McCutcheon does it again! That is her fourth goal in her last 6 games played.
And this is exactly what they can do, this Orlando Pride team, even when they're not performing well. Barbara Banda does really well to get to the first action, and McCutcheon, Seb Hines did say that she'd added that to her game this year. You see here, it was a good ball in from Marta. Barbara Banda does really well getting to it first. Gets a little bit fortunate, it ends up coming off of Westie's thigh, it looks like, and it falls to McCutcheon on the back post, and that is a gift. I love that your eyes open up wider, Jen, when you're in that position, and I'm delighted for McCutcheon. The Orlando Pride team haven't performed well in the first half, and San Diego Wave didn't really capitalise on that, and look at what it means to McCutcheon.
The defender who all of a sudden is scoring goals to go along with the defensive work she does in the midfield for Orlando. Had a goal in both the quarterfinal and the semifinal last year for Orlando. And has continued that into 2025.
Just been a fantastic addition to this team. I think Seb Hines did say when he brought her in, she was actually an outside back, a full-back, and then he moved her into that, you know, almost defensive midfield spot, and now she's added this to her game. And we spoke about it, didn't we, Jen, about them having different ways of getting to goal. We have barely seen Marta in this game at all, and that's okay, because some days, some games are not set up for certain players, and I think the Wave have done a really good job at occupying the space, not giving Marta any time on the ball. But McCutcheon can show up with a goal. Ali Watt had a shot previously. They have so many different weapons, and being able to get to goal in the way that they do.
So Orlando on the front foot to start the second half. Pride, the only team yet to concede in the NWSL this season. San Diego will be looking to change that. The Wave have scored 4 goals in their first 2 matches.
And this speaks true to Jonas Eidevall starting the second halves, doesn't it? I mean, they in their first 2 games, they scored in the first 7 minutes. And then in the second half, they just seem to not come out. Is it a psychological thing? Because I've been really complimentary of the San Diego Wave. I think they've been really good in the first half defensively. They look solid. But this is what this Orlando Pride team can do, Jen. They can hurt you in ways. And the best teams, they win games. I know there's a long way to go, but they win games when they're not performing to the best of their capabilities. So it'll be interesting to see now what the San Diego Wave team do in order to get back into this game.
But I think you put your finger on it too, Leanne, the fact that Ali Watt took that shot that led to the corner. I mean, that was not happening in the first half. Either it was an extra pass or just those moments weren't being created for Orlando. Banda trying to just find the ball in the air, does so, 1 to beat, lays it off. Marta, a little slip as she goes for it. Barbara Banda, you heard her say how much she loves playing with Marta. I think she wanted an assist for Marta there, and then on the back post, Yates had an opportunity as well.
Yeah, you can see what Marta was trying to do here. She just lost her foot. It was so unselfish from Barbara Banda. McNabb, I was very complimentary in the first half, but Barbara Banda, she's tenacious in these areas, plays it off. Marta just looks like she's trying to drop her shoulder, ends up passing it in the end. Summer Yates, I'd expect her to do a little bit better there. a little bit better, just leans back. It was a moment and an opportunity. But you can see the Orlando Pride in the second half have been so much better.
You could see the reaction from Seb Hines and his staff. His third year as a head coach for the Pride. Originally joined, as this one comes in and is smothered by Morehouse, but originally joined Orlando City as a player in 2015 and then assistant coach on the Orlando Pride staff.
Yeah, he was on the team when I played there, because obviously I was there originally in their expansion year. And Seb Hines was a centre-back for Orlando City.
I'd say he's adjusted to this coaching role pretty well.
He has, and I said to him about not conceding any goals that would delight him. As a centre-forward myself, obviously I was focused on the attackers, but equally I really value what it means to keep a clean sheet.
And in case you're wondering, Orlando posting shutouts in each of their first two matches. The NWSL shutout record to start a season is 312 minutes without conceding. That was done by Utah in 2019, so 3+ matches there. How about the vision from Marta picking out Angelina open in the middle of the pitch. Yates, eyes up, diagonal, nowhere to go but into the feet of the San Diego defense. Corley looking forward, a chance for Moroni. The rest of the team a little slow to catch up. Now the second wave comes through. Corley, Sanchez.
Because the San Diego Wave was so good in the first half, and pressing, high press, I did say, Jen, it was going to be difficult to maintain that this entire game, because they were high pressing in those moments, and we've started to see a little bit of gaps opening up since Summer Yates has come into this game on the left-hand side. I think she's going to get a lot of joy as the game gets a little bit more stretched, because right now San Diego Wave just look a little bit tired and a little bit leggy in these first 10 minutes of the second half.
Remember, we told you at the beginning, too, Orlando has this incredible 21-match unbeaten streak across all competitions on their home field at Inter & Co Stadium. One more unbeaten would tie the NWSL record held by North Carolina 2018 to 2021. Pride 10-0-3 at home last season. San Diego certainly has had their struggles on the road over the last couple of seasons. That's a tough challenge as Cascarino goes down. How can she get a little bit more involved in the attack in this game, Leanne? Assuming she's able to get up, hopefully.
Yeah. I'm surprised this is not actually getting a card on Nadana. I think Cascarino thought the same as well. I think for Cascarino, they haven't really been able to find her. I think it was really a defensive masterclass in the first half from Jonas Eideval, but I think on the attack-wise, they didn't really offer that much in the attacking areas, and I think it's up to Savannah McCaskill to try and find Cascarino, because we know she has a great weight of pass. Sanchez needs, I think, to get more in the game on the attack as well. I think I'd like to see someone get at somebody. I think Summer Yates has come into this game and we've seen there's a lot of space on the left-hand side. She's running out players, she's drawing players out. I think the San Diego Wave team, they could potentially make some substitutions. Marcenes might come into the game, as we know that usually happens. A little bit of mastery, a little bit of trickery to be able to draw players out. I think they've been good. They've been going vertical, side to side as well. And I think, they haven't really gone through the middle. Adriana Leon has barely touched the ball.
Yeah, when they had some opportunities early, a lot of that came from the wings, but weren't really dangerous in the crosses. Here's Sanchez, here's Leon, can turn if she wants. Turn the other way, there was a whole goal to be had.
That's the spot, Jen, that I think San Diego Wave, we spoke about our keys to the game a couple of weeks ago with them, and I said it's really important their centre forward stays central and attacker stays in the area. I think Gia Corley's had a really good game. I think you can focus on her goals in the last couple of weeks, but I think defensively, again, she's had a solid performance, having to recover so much. There's times she's in the right back position, full outside back position, having to cover, and we can see her in the middle of the field now, recovering on the other side of the ball to Angelina.
That's number 11 for San Diego. If you want to keep your eye on all the movement of Gia Corley, the young midfielder from Tacoma, Washington, in her first year with San Diego and the NWSL, has been playing in Germany since she was 16 years old. Yates, halftime substitution for the Orlando Pride, perhaps helping them look a little more attack-minded in this second half. Resulted in a goal in the 50th minute. Haley McCutcheon, fourth goal in the last 6. Last 7 if you include the Challenge Cup at the start of the year. Sams. Good possession here by the Pride, wanting another corner. Three subs getting set to come on. You thought we might see some sooner rather than later. Here they are, the youth movement coming onto the field for San Diego. A trio of teenagers. Melanie Barcenas, 17 years old. Chiamaka Okwuchukwu, 19 years old, out of Nigeria, and Kimi Ascanio, 17 years old. Those are your subs for San Diego.
Yeah, and I think this makes sense. It's almost right on point, because I think there needs to be an injection of speed of play. I really like Kimi Ascanio. She's one of my favourite young players to watch in this league, and hopefully this year she'll start to get a few more minutes. But I think she's very, very good on the ball, and I think she can offer something different. I like that from the opening side of Val, because I think sometimes players stay on the field and play at what they potentially could do. And sometimes I think the attack today for the San Diego Wave hasn't been great. I think it's been really good defensively, but I think in those areas that we spoke about pre-game, Jen, the front 6 have been really fluid. That also could play a part, the fact that temperatures, you know, you can't maintain that for an entire 90 minutes.
So Sanchez, Corley, Leon, the 3 coming off for San Diego. Still just the 1 change for Orlando at the half, with Summer Yates replacing Morgan Gautrat. So we'll see how San Diego gets situated with these 3 youngsters coming into the match. It's one thing that Kenza Dali told us. She said, it's interesting with our team. We have the veterans, a little more experience, and then we have these really young players like this one right here. Okwuchukwu was on the ball. Eventually, San Diego losing it. Let's take another look at this.
Love that. What a cut. Love it.
She's appeared with the youth teams for Nigeria. A chance here! Oh my! Welcome to the NWSL! Will it stand though? Chiamaka Okwuchukwu in her first year in the NWSL, and her debut is offside.
Oh, Okwuchukwu, what an impact she's had. Looks like Jonas Sandoval is saying it's a, he's thinking, he's saying, what's it a foul for? I'll have to check. It was really good play. I can't personally see anything wrong with this, Jen. It's not a foul on the goalkeeper.
Let's see if the flag comes up.
No one's offside.
Side.
Nobody's offside.
Not when it's released.
Nothing is wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. This cannot be taken away. It's not a foul on Anna Morehouse. Okwuchukwu gets to the ball first. That is not a foul.
You're basically hearing what the coaches likely are saying there to the official, what Leanne is saying. I would agree, Leanne, and they're looking VAR at this to see if there was a foul on the play. So our referee, Anna Raymond Roy, is going to come over and take a look at it. You'd have to look, is there a foul anywhere in the attacking phase of play here for San Diego that perhaps would negate this goal?
No, this cannot be taken away from me, Jen. There's nothing here. Okochoko gets to the ball first. If anything, it's a foul on her, and a Morehouse comes flying out. I don't see anything here.
Minutes into her debut. What a moment for Okochoko.
Thank you.
The goal is good.
Thank you. That doesn't even need to be checked for me. I know they check all of the goals, but Okochoko, well done, comes into this game, makes a real impact. Previously, I love that cut that she did, and I'm delighted that's been given because there was nothing in that. You can see, I mean, obviously they're going to appeal for it if it's your team. Really good ball in from Kenza Dali. Great finish. I did say, didn't I, it'd be interesting to see what the San Diego Wave team do in order to kind of get back into this game, make the substitutions, and an impact it has been.
Did you think it would be the 19-year-old from Nigeria in her debut who might make the difference? This is the first time we've seen Okochoko.
No, I can't take credit for that, but I knew that there would be some type of impact, an injection of pace within this game. I think Summer Yates has actually brought that to the Orlando Pride team as well.
Well, Orlando also making a change after the goal. Now evened up here in Orlando. Priska Chilufya, another Zambian, joining Barbara Banda and Grace Chanda on this Orlando Pride team. So Chilufya has appeared now in all 3 matches off the bench. First year in the NWSL, was playing in Liga MX in Mexico. Placed Ali Watt in the attack, and now set piece for Orlando. First goal that Orlando has conceded this season. Not exactly sure what. Oh, it's a yellow card to the Orlando Pride bench, it looks like. There is the card shown. But what a different feel to this match already in the second half. First it was Orlando striking in the 50th minute off the set piece. Haley McCutcheon putting away a lovely ball touched across from Barbara Banda. Marta had the service. And then Okochoko, quickest debut to goal time span in league history, evening things up for San Diego less than 2 minutes after she came into the match since she came into the NWSL, scoring the goal.
I really enjoyed this game. I think obviously in the first half 0-0, but I think San Diego Wave coming back into this game, showing the character, I think it's difficult. When you go down against the Orlando Pride, although they haven't had their best performance, you just expect them to go on to win the game comfortably because it's what they do. It's in their DNA to win games even when they're not performing. I still think there's more goals in this game. I have a feeling. I could be wrong, but I think this game we haven't really seen Marta on the ball in those areas, and I think if they can try to find Marta, then it could be a completely different ball game.
Barbara Banda involved in that goal, as I mentioned, on the corner kick for Orlando. This Orlando Pride team, just 2 losses on their run to the championship last season. What an incredible year that was. One of the best we will ever see, likely, in the history of this league. 18-2-6, the mark for the Shield winners from Orlando. And of course, going on to claim the NWSL championship. Yates takes a couple looks over her shoulder to see who's with her. It's a host of San Diego players. They take the ball away. Arsenis is so talented with the ball at her feet and does just enough to keep this forward for Ascanio at the end line. It's out for a corner.
Kimi Ascanio's first touch just let her down a little bit there, but I like the run into the box. It was a great weight of pass. Dana does a really good job to come across, but again, you mentioned Barcenas. When she comes into these games, the footwork, I remember Casey Stoney talking about her a couple of years ago, saying how good she was in training and her foot skills, and I think we're seeing it this year. Like, the balance on the ball from Barcenas is incredible.
Keep your eyes on number 25. That's Melanie Barcenas, the 17-year-old from Claremont, California. She is special with her ball skills. Kenza Dali set to take the corner for San Diego. The French woman fires it in. There are 4 players down. 2 for San Diego, 1 for Orlando. Looked like 3, and now play continues. Marta coming deep to collect. Up to Chilufya. Banda, space. Wanted the soft touch for Chilufya. And there was a lot of contact coming here. I believe a penalty is going to be awarded to Orlando on that play. Now Banda does take some contact here as she is laying the ball off.
My first look of this, Jen, I don't know if I think this is a penalty. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't think that's a penalty.
So watch Cascarino here.
Nah.
Hold on.
I don't think that's, no, I don't.
That is the call on the field. Doesn't get much ball.
There is contact.
So we'll see if there is any sort of a review on this, but penalty is what was called on the field by the referee from that contact by Cascarino on Barbara Banda. Meanwhile, Marta says, just let me put the ball down at the spot and do what I do.
I also think when the players are in the box and they make contact with the player, it kind of leaves no choice for the referee. But I just think, you know, you look at the action of Barbara Banda, she's in that position. I just don't think Cascarino touches her enough for it to be given as a penalty. I really don't. I think it's really soft.
Well, we'll take one more look back at it. If this does stand, it likely would set up Marta, who's 12 of 13 from the spot all time. Second best in league history. That's the foul that was called on Cascarino. That is what they are looking at.
Yeah, from that angle, it looks like there is contact. I think from the other angles, it doesn't look like a penalty. I think it's clever from Barbara Banda as well. I think, you know, she's very clever in that moment, and as soon as Cascarino leaves her foot in, I think it leaves the referee with no option. Be interesting to see here if Marta takes the ball. We saw last week, Angelina picked up the ball, passed it off to, here we go. Gives the ball to Angelina, then passes it to Marta. Everybody knows Marta's going to take the penalty.
Well, I just set up how excellent Marta has been from the penalty spot in the history of this league, one of the best ever. Well, she's facing the best ever in goal in Kaylin Sheridan, who has saved more regulation penalty attempts than any other keeper. 9 times she's saved one in regular season play. So who wins this battle of wills between Marta and Sheridan? Marta's goal this season came at Gotham in stoppage time of the first half. It was a penalty kick. Marta for Orlando for the lead off the post! Denied by the woodwork. One of the greatest to ever take penalties in this league. Wow.
Not a
San
sight.
Diego dodging one there.
Not a sight we're familiar with at all, seeing Marta miss from the penalty spot. It was quite a weird one because Kenny Sheridan got sent the wrong way, and it almost looked like it took a bit of a bobble as she hit it. But again, I do think, like, I personally don't think that was a penalty. So I'm glad that kind of, in my eyes, justice was served. But I think we know Marta in this game, like, no doubt, Marta will be mad at herself for missing that. It happened to the best of us. I've missed 2 penalties in my career, Jen, and I remember it like it was yesterday. So, see here, Kaylin Sheridan gets sent the wrong way. Kind of bobbles, like, weirdly. She doesn't really catch it too truly. Look at this. Looks weird, like she kind of hits it on the instep.
Marta had only missed once in her career in both the regular season and across all competitions. Is she going to get another shot at this? Did Sheridan move? That may be what's happening here. Did Kaylin Sheridan leave her line early? Oh, wow. So Marta's going to get another shot at it after all. Watch Kaylin Sheridan. She is off the line before the ball is struck, both feet forward. It's so tough for a goalkeeper to time that right. And remember that little hesitation Marta had? Might have been just enough.
So harsh and tough, but those are the rules. Just, it's like millimeters, inches, seconds.
Oh, and now we're getting a formal review of this encroachment call.
Do you know what I think the encroachment actually is? I can see players that have entered into the 18-yard box before the ball's been kicked. So you can see there's players. McNabb is in the box.
Yep.
Lundqvist as well, before the ball has been kicked. So I would be more inclined to say that's what they're looking at.
So it looks like one way or the other encroachment did occur, whether it was a goalkeeper or was the San Diego players.
Yes, Lundqvist, because the thing is, when I look at Kaylin Sheridan, I was saying it was millimeters, millisecond off the line, but it was like, that would have been really difficult on Kaylin Sheridan, but it looks like Lundqvist enters into the box, and that is the reality. That's what happened.
Okay, so Leanne, if you're Marta, go to the same spot? I mean, but obviously in the goal, do you go the same way or do you switch it up?
Me personally, Marta doesn't need me to tell her where to go, but I think switch it up.
Take 2. Marta once again from the spot with her left. This one is good, and Orlando takes the lead again.
Ridiculous from Marta. The fact that she missed the first one and then she gets up there and almost does a Panenka. Like, the composure in that moment, brilliant. Once you miss a penalty, it's so difficult when you step back up because it's in your mind psychologically. Well done, Marta, for stepping up again. I feel for Kaylin Sheridan. Although she didn't save it, it would have been felt good for her. Lundqvist is definitely in the box before it's played. It's unfortunate because you want your players to be going in there. Look at this. Just a joke. Like, I always felt like confident on penalties, right? But I've never had the ability to want to do that in that moment when it's pressure. It's unbelievable from Marta. Unbelievable.
So she hits the post and misses the first time. Encroachment gives her another chance. She glances it off the bottom of the crossbar. Kaylin Sheridan can't believe it, but the score now does stand 2-1 Orlando. Second goal of the season for Marta, second from the spot, and her 41st all-time in the NWSL. Well, after all of that, that takes us to the hydration break here in the second half. Quite a different feel to this one in the second 45 than we had in the first half. It was scoreless, neither team very threatening in the attack. San Diego probably felt they had a hold on it. The NWSL on ESPN is presented by Ally, the bank that's your ally. Where do we go from here, Leanne?
I mean, I feel for Kaylin Sheridan and the San Diego Wave because she couldn't have done any more than she did in that moment. You can see Becky Tweed having a conversation with the assistant referee as well. They will feel aggrieved, but that is the rule. Lundqvist was in the penalty area before the ball was kicked. It was encroachment for sure. but I feel for them. But I think the Orlando Pride, it's been a great second half. I said in the first half, even when it was 0-0, you can get some 0-0s where you think nothing's happened, but I was enjoying the tactical defensive masterclass from the San Diego Wave. And I definitely think they've turned the corner this year. And this player, I mean, like, you just can't stop talking about her, really. I mean, what can we even say anymore? The ability to be able to step up and take another penalty when you've missed one, then to pull off like a chip Panenka penalty, like, it's just unbelievable.
You know what we can say, Leanne? We're grateful we get to watch her for at least one more year here in the NWSL.
Can we get some more? I don't want just one more year, Jen.
Said at least. Change coming for Orlando. Ali Lemos, a player I know you know well. You've known Lemos for a long time, the 21-year-old out of UCLA. Number 9 pick in the draft last year.
Yeah, I've known Ali Lemos since she was 12 years old. I know her family very, very well, and I remember when she was heavily recruited to UCLA, and I'd like to see her get a lot more minutes this year, but obviously in this Orlando Pride team it's difficult because they have so much strength and depth. But I'm looking forward to her potentially getting some more minutes this season. But I think, you know, you win a double, you win a championship and a shield in your first year in the league. Can't really get much better than that.
What a sequence of events we have had really over the last 7 or so minutes. Ball forward for San Diego. You think about, go back to that Okochoko goal in the 64th minute. That one's reviewed. It's deemed that it is a goal. Initially was not called a goal. That ties it up in the 64th minute. And then we get into the whole mess of the penalty situation, which you might have felt was a soft penalty, but it was given. Barbara Banda earning it. Marta has the first one off the post, gets another chance after the encroachment, and here we go. Orlando 2-1 in the 80th minute. Obviously some stoppage time will be coming at the end of this one.
I know we usually call it, Jen, NWSL After Dark, but I'm not sure what we call a midday kickoff that has everything involved in it.
I seem to remember a certain commentator saying at halftime, you know, we really haven't had very many VAR instances yet, so everyone blame Leanne.
Yeah, that was me. I was saying I've been pleasantly surprised in the opening 2 games of the season where it's not been. I think the referees have been very, very good. I'm quite critical of them at times. I think last year we had so many minutes. We saw 12 minutes added on the end of a half, 30 minutes. I think this year has been much better. Still could be better, because I don't know why we're reviewing goals like we did in this game when it's clearly a goal. But at the same time, I think, yeah, I did jinx us a half-time jinx. I did say to you off camera, it's been great. We've not had any VAR. Now look. All I care about, Jen, is they get the decision correct.
Yes.
That is all I care about. Preferably, it doesn't take 15 minutes to get the decision right.
Can San Diego regroup here with this young cast of characters like Kimi Ascanio on the ball now? Puts it outside of Cascarino. McCaskill. Ask McNabb to come up into the space. Now Dali. You can see Dali. She told us she hates passing backwards. It pains her. She wants to go forward always. Having to pick out the right moments. Chulufia. Lost it. San Diego recovers. Ronnie. Barcenas not going to be able to get there. Well played defensively by Marta.
Ronnie is asking a lot there to be able to get Barcenas in that position. You know, Marta does really well on the defensive side of the ball. But I think, you know, San Diego Wave, that's one thing I think the last 2 games, opening 2 games, I've been really, you know, complimentary of their front 6, interchangeability, being able to get on the ball. I don't think I've seen that within this game. I don't think it happened until the substitutions. Cascarino hasn't had a sniff in this game, hasn't been on the ball at all, and I think she is their most dangerous player when she is on the ball.
Dali helping Lemos up there. Lemos winning NCAA championship with UCLA in 2022. And obviously starting her pro career with a championship in Orlando last year. Pride had their work cut out for them, though, to see this one out.
I think if they were to be able to keep this the way it is now, and it was 10, I think Seb Hines won't be happy necessarily with the performance overall. But if you can win games when you're not playing your best, I think that is the definition of a true champion. The best teams do that.
Yeah, you want to see that grit, that fight to compete. And on the other side, that's something that Jonas Eidevall said he's been really pleased with, that he's seen from his team. We asked him what he learned from his team over the first 2 matches of the season, and that was one of the things he said stood out to them.
Yeah, and I think their opening game against Angel City, the San Diego Wave, I think they should have won that game. They possessed the ball, they were pressing high. If it wasn't for Alyssa Thompson, I think they would have won that game, not just her goal, but always looking effective in those areas. But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from the San Diego Wave. I think they've made a lot of strides forward in a short space of time under Jonas Eidevall, considering all the stuff off the field of play last year, you know, with the managerial roles and coaching and different coaches coming in. I think Jonas Eidevall's been able to stamp down his template from the get-go.
Ball squeaks out of the corner into the gloves of Sheridan, and you can see Jonas Eidevall encouraging his team to get up the field. We'll have more NWSL action coming up later tonight as Lola Labonta and the Kansas City Current take on Ali Sentnor, and the Utah Royals. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern over on ION. You want an opportunity for spectacular goals? That matchup just might give it to you, that Kansas City, Utah. Sentnor always a threat from distance, and you say Kansas City, I say Temwa Shawinga, and the cast of characters that she brings with her. They're an exciting team to watch as well, perhaps trying to keep pace with Orlando if the Pride can pick up their 3rd win of the season here today. Yates has been really confident, great addition coming into this match for Seb Hines at halftime. Marta. Chulufia. Will be a throw deep in the corner. Pace slowing down a bit on a hot afternoon in Orlando, and of course the Pride can afford to move a little slower at times, take their time with the lead. Barcenas gets out of a jam. Ascanio asking for options. Wave will be bringing on Kira Carusa, the Irish international. San Diego native, though. Her 3rd year with the Wave, started the first match of the season. Could provide an injection of some offense here in these waning moments. What'd you make of Dali's performance today, though, as she heads off to make way for Carusa?
Yeah, I think she was excellent again. I think when she was on the ball, she did good things with it. I think defensively for the San Diego Wave, especially in the first half, I think it was that type of game. They wasn't able to really be fluid like they have been in the first 2 games, the front 6. But I think she can be happy with how she's adapted and adjusted to this league really early on, playing in a different position.
What a touch there. Okwuchukwu, the beneficiary of it from Ascanio. Cleanly laid out. Doesn't result in anything but Orlando going the other way, which is the danger when you gamble against this Orlando team, which, to be fair, San Diego, this is the time you have to gamble. You're trailing, it's late in the match, you take more chances perhaps than you would have throughout the entirety.
Yeah, and to be fair to Jonas Eidevall, he has thrown everybody on, apart from Robbie, who hasn't come into the game, but I'd have expected her to come in at some point, and she hasn't. Carusa's come into the game. Different type of centre forward will go in there. She works hard, but they just need to create a little bit more in the final third. I just don't think they have. I think the substitutions have made an impact. Okwuchukwu's come into this game, scored a goal, been really active. I thought she should have done better there on the first touch when she did go in on goal. But I think overall, I think San Diego Wave have been very good defensively, but just haven't really had many moments in the final third.
Okwuchukwu, what a touch to free herself, and now lays it forward for Carusa. Kira Carusa, Abello intervenes. saving the day perhaps for Orlando.
Abello does really well here. Okochukwu does so well here. But I think Caruso has to take her first touch with the right foot. If she takes her touch with the right foot, Kerry Abello has no chance of coming in to be able to retrieve. Look at this touch. Love that from Okochukwu. And then here, this is the touch I'm talking about. That touch has to be taken with the right foot. If Caruso takes that touch with the right foot, Kerry Abello's got no chance because she's able to kind of get her body there and put the ball in the back of the net. Taking nothing away from Abello's recovery run, but I think that's an opportunity there that, you know, if that's down the other end, it's Barbara Banda, it's good night or good morning.
Good afternoon. We'll split the difference. '89th minute in Orlando. Stoppage time coming, though, before this one is over. And San Diego pressing to find that equalizer.
I think what I'm seeing now is Okochukwu has to start for the San Diego Wave. I know sometimes late in the game when you bring players in, it does get split a little bit because the teams start to tire, but she's offered so much. Cascarino there just overhit it a little bit. We hadn't really seen in the first half. Adriana Leon didn't really stretch the field. She's a different type of player. Adriana Leon's a crafty player. She's about 20 yards offside.
I'm not sure why Okochukwu was taking her time to touch the ball there, awaiting the inevitable, which was the offside flag.
To be fair, Caruso was actually coming behind, and if Caruso would have run through, it would have been given, but I understand why. She didn't really have enough time to get there.
Anna Morehouse puts the ball in play, called back in for England. Still yet to make her debut, but getting her first call up last July. Banda, get off me. She winds up on the ground. It was Barbara Banda, remember, who earned the penalty for Orlando, allowed the Pride to take the lead eventually in the 76th minute.
Just touching upon Anna Morehouse, Jen, it's difficult with the England Lionesses team because they have so much strength and depth in that area. Hannah Hampton, Mary Earps. But I'm delighted that Anna Morehouse, after her season last year, she got that call up.
I think about a player who really had to earn the #1 shirt, and Seth Hines was pretty honest about that. And she was not starting in 2022, did in 2023, and then obviously had such a tremendous year backstopping this championship team last year. See some changes on both sides. Quincy McMahon, one of those, making her debut, 21-year-old out of UCLA for San Diego, and then changes Zara Chavoshi. Took Wake Forest to the national championship game, their first in program history last year, so it's her first year with the Pride, rookie. And then Brianna Martinez, third year with Orlando, was the number 17 pick in the 2023 draft when we had a college draft. That is no longer the case in the NWSL, but Martinez makes her season debut for Orlando, replacing Banda. Chavoshi stepping in for Corey Dyke in the back line, and there you see the number 7 minutes, a minimum of 7 minutes of stoppage time added on to this game. And it can sometimes get a little dicey when you're swapping out that many different players on your back line for Orlando, though that is something they typically have done. They feel really confident in the group they can bring off the bench. A lot of different attacking players for San Diego. That can cause some chaos. Being told it actually is going to be 8 minutes of stoppage time, which is music to the ears of the Wave.
It is, and I think because we've had so many VAR checks as well, in addition to all the substitutions that we've seen, that's obviously why.
Talked about debuts. McMahon, Okochukwu, both for San Diego this year. This match, in fact. And San Diego signed 13 players since the start of the year. 10 players active at the moment. They have another coming in. Colombian defender Daniela Arias will be joining the team. So it was a yellow card issued on that last play. Chilufya picking it up for Orlando.
I'm yet to see right now. Chilufya, I think, has been a really good addition to the team to provide a lot of depth, but I'm yet to see where she fits into this Orlando Pride team, because I think when she has come into games, we saw her score in the first game that got disallowed, but other than that, I think when she comes into games, it's hard to know kind of where her role is on this team, because she isn't really touching the ball, isn't really making that massive impact. Sometimes it takes players a little while to get up to, you know, not necessarily the speed of play, but with the goings on with the team.
Moroni can't quite keep this ball in play. NWSL on ESPN, presented by Ally, continues after the international break on Sunday, April 13th, as Abby Dahlkemper and Bay FC take on Alyssa Nair and the Chicago Stars at 7 Eastern on ESPN2 and streaming live on ESPN+. So you get a little break, watch some basketball, maybe. March Madness going on. Women's tournament all across our ESPN networks. And then come back to the NWSL that April 12th, 13th weekend.
Temperature's quite different, Jen, to when we did the last game, regular game of the season, and you know they were getting the shield. Jordan Angeli was getting soaked down on the sideline. You know, it's quite different, the temperatures, I think, especially playing, you know, at midday. But to be fair to both teams, I just don't think that's impacted the game at all. I mean, you can ask them differently after the game, but I think I like Jonas Eideval's approach. He's like, it is what it is, and we're going to do everything we can. Players are now going to train this week. You know, every day we've made it an hour earlier. You know, the eating times and those types of things, and training time, training in raincoats, rain jackets, as you mentioned before. So I like Jonas Eideval's, you know, mindset within this league.
Defensively, though, why do you feel San Diego, if you feel they were less effective in the first half than they were in the first? It felt like they had more control in the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. But I also think you cannot high press like that in any game in the NWSL for a whole 90 minutes. You know, unless you're a triathlete. But at the same time, I think temperatures do play a role in that, because you have to drop off a little bit. No excuses will be made, but I think Jonas Eideval spoke true to the fact that in the second half of games, they just don't start the second half very well, and that's the reality we've seen within this game. So that'll be something that will disappoint him, because they've spoken about it a lot. But he also spoke about the threats that Orlando Pride do have, and I think if San Diego Wave were to get anything out of this game, a lot of the Orlando Pride individual players, it hasn't been their day. And these things happen, and sometimes you just have to pray that they have an off day against your team, individually and collectively. And I think it has been a bit of an off day for the Pride. I'm sure Seb Hines can see that himself, but if they win this game, that's all that matters.
It's good work there from Ali Lemos, tracking back, not allowing Barcenas to dance her way to freedom. And you're right, you take what you can out of the match, what it's given you. Also appreciate what your team has given you, even if it wasn't their best day. And then you have to deal with this juggle that many players on both of these teams will be doing, going back and forth, traveling. Kinza Dali talked to us about that for their international play during this break. Some of them have UEFA Nations League matches to play. And also some of these young players, they'll be going away with youth national teams. But such is the balance you must strike during a season if you're an elite international level player. Chilufya puts it across. All three goals coming after halftime in this one. Just one from the run of play, and that was San Diego. Some oohs and ahs from the crowd as Marta attempts to get herself out of a jam. So the Pride in the lead, having scored off of a quarter kick and a penalty kick today. San Diego with a goal in the debut of Okwochoko. in the match. Off her head, into the net it went. After a review, deemed a good goal. That briefly tied us up. 64th minute. And the 76th minute penalty from Marta, sitting as the difference so far. Orlando Pride